so many faces from the past, people I so love. Jill O'Hara, bless your heart, Mike Baron. I mean, these are the people I work with now. And I'm going to talk about some of you later. Let me give you a little background. When they first told me about this, they said they want you to speak about 20 minutes, and I said, I don't do that. No, they're laughing off the Pat Greenwald. I would have cut it. I'm only going to talk for 5 minutes. But this one, I said, well, but it's really kind of a, I thought, oh, okay. So I read over your notes and everything, Pam, and tore them up and threw them out. And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. Because this is the Lambs Club. And this is a place where I can tell you really about how I got started. Because I had a miraculous start, a very lucky start in this business, with some of the background that led up to it. And this is the perfect place to do it, because I remember my father telling me, way back, that there was a confusion, I guess it was in the 30s, over the difference between the Lambs Club, Players Club, and Friars Club. And George S. Kaufman explained by saying, the Lambs Club is where actors try to be gentlemen. The Players Club is where gentlemen try to be actors. The Friars Club is where neither try to be both. So I'm in the right place. I've spent over half a century an actor trying to be a gentleman. But I'll tell you how I really got started. My father, in the late 30s after college and before he went away to war, sang with a group called the McFarlane Brothers. And the other fellow who sang with him was, at the time then his name was Gene McNulty. And after the war he went to California and became Dennis Day. And my father was very comfortable with singing. And he loved imitating, because he was used to doing the Crosby songs. So I remember around the house he'd be going, when the blue of the night hits the gold, they spoke you. He'd also do all kinds of imitations, whether it was Durante, or Jolson. You know, yesterday I heard a lover sigh, goodbye, oh me, oh my. Favorite one is he would do the X-Files. He'd do all three of them. We three will living in a memory. My shadow and me. The middle. We're three. We're all alone. We're living in a memory as my echo, my shadow, and me. The three. We three. We're all alone. Seems like we're living in a memory. That's my echo, my shadow, and me. You know, I've been wondering, what good is the moonlight? That silvery moonlight that shines way, way up above. I walk with my shadow, and I talk with my echo. But where is that gal that I love? Sing around the house and on the golf course with my little brother, and it was just a comfortable thing. So in the shower, in 9th grade, after basketball practice, Ned Ligon and Billy Hauser, who were both young members of the Pilgrim Fellowship Choir of the Congregational Church where I attended, were practicing a piece. And I just joined in and sang with it. And the piece began. Exultate Deo, exultate Deo, agitori nostro. They said, how are you? Sing. I said, well, yeah, I'm coming. You've got to try out for this choir. This choir is great. Tour Europe, we sang at Carnegie Hall. It was a terrific youth choir. So I joined. Next thing I was a soloist. We did tour Europe. And then The first role, I don't put on my beard, I was 15, was playing Buffalo Bill in If You Get Your Gun. There's no business like show business like show business. And I was a junior, and I was Billy Bickle. My boy Bill will be tall and as tough as a tree. When I was a senior, I was Curly. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. Off to college. Immediately joined a singing group that I loved to this day called the Zumbis, singing music to Zumbi, very much like the Hi-Lo's and Manhattan Transfer. Boom, 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 boom. If you ever plan to go to West. And one of the upperclassmen said, you know, you ought to try out for a play. And I said, I've never done a play. He said, well, you've done leads in musicals. It's just the same thing, but without the song. So I did the Andersonville trial, and I did Jamie in Long Day's Journey. Did a number of these things. Played the title role in the Scottish play, Queen My Lord is Dead. She should have died thereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays with lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. That was the fall of my senior year. That summer, I've been a page at NBC, right there, 6th floor, Tonight Show, Johnny Carson, Sketch Henderson, the whole thing. I'm getting more and more hooked on this showbiz idea. I'm really liking it a lot. So, the head of the department at Amherst, I went to Amherst College as an undergrad. I was an English major. I didn't study acting, but I performed a lot. His name is Marc Baron, and he said, there's a fellowship that usually goes to musicians to Yale, but it can also be an actor. And you're musically inclined, and I thought if you applied, you might get it. So I applied. I got it. I went to my father. He was sitting up in bed reading my copy of Dickens' Martin Chuzzlewit. I told him I was at a fellowship at Yale, pursued being an actor. And he looked at me over his glasses and he said, aren't you a little tall? It was so loving. He was there. So the spring of my senior year, I played El Gallo. And there's an irony to this. I played El Gallo, you know, from the Fantastics. Try to remember the kind of September. Now, I go back to my page job. But I thought, well, I'll audition too when I have a chance. Variety Arts, 2nd floor, I read a thing, Gateway Playhouse, Long Island, looking for somebody for J. Pierpont Finch in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, which was done by Bobby Boston, and also for Lieutenant Cable in South Pacific. So I showed up, I had on my pages outfit back then, with braids and white gloves, and there was a whole lot waiting. I went right to the front of the line because I was on a half-hour break. Just wait a minute. Goes in, and I go right in the door. There was one piece of this that I didn't know at first. Anyway, and I sing something. I think I sang "If Ever I Should Leave You" or something. I did something else. And they said, you know, we like you, but to play Finch, could you do something a little maybe whimsical? And I thought for a second. I took off my jacket and I went, when I have a brand new hairdo. I enjoy thinking of it. So I got it. And one of the reasons I got it, unbeknownst to me, is that the last show of that season was Little Apple. So that summer, I did How to Apply for a Job how to advance from the mailroom, how to sit down at a desk, how to dictate memorandums, how to develop executive style, how to commute in a 3-button suit with that weary executive smile. This book is all that I need. How to succeed. Then, in a lower key, I touch your hand and my arms grow strong. Now with this one. Then Mr. Sourberry Oliver, he's born undertakers. And finally, Abner, if I had my druthers, I'd rather have my druthers than anything else I know. Now I'm off the air. Mary Crawford, who was their wonderful singer, played all the leads. She said there's a guy you can go to up in the pavement who runs this rather disreputable place called the House of the Zodiac. And I've sung there, and you might be able to get a job. His name was Remy. Hey, how are you, kid? I said, I have the sides, all the Nelson Riddle sides that I got for Sinatra. It was set for Sinatra when he was older, so it was in the right pitch. He says, yeah, nice yelling could he could class up the place a little. He could be like a kind of a singing waiter guy. Something like that. I said, okay. He said, you got a tux? Of course. You gotta find one. Now I'm studying acting with Stella Adler, Bobby Wilson on the weekends. I'm going to the House of the Zodiac. And he says, 3 things, kid. Don't ever forget this. Anybody comes up, hands you a box, a bag of packages, hold it for them. You come right to me. Second thing, some nice pretty girl comes up or sits with you at the bar. Just don't go near her, because believe me, she's got a boyfriend or you get in trouble. The third thing is no matter how many times a guy comes in with a woman, don't ever refer to her as Mrs. Nuncio. You'll get lucky. You got that? So I said, fine. So now, there I am at Yale studying Elizabeth Smith, Stella, studying a lot of Shakespeare. If you have tears prepared to shed them now, you already know this man. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. It was on a summer's evening in his tent that day. He overcame the nerve to eat. Look, when this place ran cash and stagger through, see what a rent the envious Casca made through this. The well-beloved was stabbed, and as he plucked his cursing steal away, Monk had the blood of Caesar followed it. As rushing out of doors to be resolved, if Brutus so unkindly knocked or no, for Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, O you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all hope. The noble Caesar saw him stabbed. Ingratitude, more strong than traitor's arms, might vanquished him. Then burst his mighty heart within his mantle, knuckling up his face, even at the base of Pompey's statue, which all the while ran blood. Great Caesar fell. Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen, and I and you and all of us fell down, whilst bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you perceive, feel the din of pity, these ungracious stripes. Kind souls, what wait you when you but behold our Caesar's vesture wounded? Look you here, here is himself, marred, as you see, with traitors. Friday night, back at the House of the Blue. I lead to the my funny Valentine, sweet company, back up. Then I get an offer. They say, first-year students mustn't act on the stage. Oh, but you have an offer to carry your spirit to the New York Shakespeare Festival in the summer and let people work. I said, I too. I went down and auditioned during spring break for the Townsend Playhouse in the Poconos to go play the following roles, which I did that summer. Charlie Davenport, man, get your gun. Who's got the show next? Wild West what? Sky Masters. I'll know my love. Pish tush. I'll break my call over to a Spaniard to rule our land began dissolved. And when by young men might best be said. Iles Gloriosus. Funny thing happened in the world. I am a parade! And finally, for Billy Jester with Mary Sunshine. Once in a blue moon, I think you love me. Once in a blue moon, I think you don't. Back to Yale, second year. Now I'm performing, doing roles, all this stuff, studying with Nikos Sakaropoulos. Nikos Sakaropoulos comes to me and says, "Can you come to Williamstown as a non-equity actor, but you play leads? Leave it to me." My first role is as Achilles in Iphigenia Alice Clytemnestra is a lady at the contest. It's Louis Zorich. Who says, "Kenny, is Greek tragedy very different? No small thoughts, no small emotions, no small movement. You are a god." It helped me great because it really was a lesson in economy, a real lesson in economy. Then I played Kilroy in Camino Real, beautifully mounted production, and it was lit by the brilliant lighting designer and director at Williamstown, Peter H. Hunt, and I liked him very much. Then, while there was a little lag time, I ran down for an audition. That spring, I had met with an agent, introduced to him by phone by Virginia Gilmore, marvelous woman, an actress, married to Yul Brynner, Bobby Baron, at first. So that spring, I had come down from Turtle Bay, met the doorman, went up, rang the bell, and heard this pitter-patter of tiny feet. The door opened and Bobby was about 5'4", with a blue shirt and a necklace and loafers, said, "Well, hello, sailor." He's my agent, and he was a great agent. So he had me come down to audition for Promises, Promises. Oh, let me tell you one other thing. Linda Otto is a casting director, and my first audition actually wasn't Promises, Promises. It was for a small part of a gendarme in Dear World, starring Angela Lansbury. And Alexander Cohen was the producer, and he had heard from Linda Otto that this was my first Broadway audition. So they wanted me to sing a little something, and I thought, well, I know I have the music for the soliloquy. I'll just start that and stop it, and still get me sing. So I started, I wonder what he'll think of me. I guess he'll call me. And I went on, and I went on, and I sang the whole thing. And Alexander Cohen came down and he said, "Mr. Howard, I understand from Miss Otto that this is your first Broadway audition." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You did very, very well. You must promise me to never, ever do that again. Find something short and sweet. Never want people to cut you off." Thank you. You've teased me about that for years now. So I auditioned for Promises, Promises. I went out, I said my lines, I heard a laugh a few times. I found out from about more later that there was Neil Simon. And they knew I was going to get the part because I never done. So I gave notice to Robert Bruce to Yale at like a leave of absence. Absolutely not. You're throwing away your career. How could you possibly go into the acting role? So now, negotiating the contract, Bobby Barry, well, David Merritt said, "Beside, there's no, we'll get the minimum salary, and there's no billing, but he's got a sign for a year or two." Bobby says, no. So he has a fellowship at Yale. He'll just go back to Yale. You got to give him a full week out. You never do that. Well, then you're not going to come in unless you. So he got me the 4 week out. So now I'm on the road with the wonderful Jill O'Hara.
Yay!
And right about the time they're giving her the song, "When You Get When You Fall in Love," right? That was on the road. I'll never fall in love again. I was on the road. And then she could use a guitar and sing that great folksy voice. I love her. We're contemporaries. Love being the show. I get a call from Peter Hunt. He says, "Your agent's going to call you. I've just gotten a job to direct what is an experimental musical called 1776. And I want you to try out for the role of Thomas Jefferson. Because as I zip along here, oh, I left out the most important part. Remember I told you about how he lit Criminal. So anyway, did I tell you this? I guess I did. About how to succeed in business? Okay. He told me, he came in pretty fluent and playing. He told me the last show of the year he was going to do How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying with Austin Pendleton. And I, no. You see, I've already done this. And I was really good. I know I'm told, but it really works. And Austin Pendleton, great is from. Really? No, I can do it. I can do the whole part for you right now. And did I mention I did it? And so he gave it. And I did it with Austin Pendleton being wonderful as from and broke every box office record in Williamstown ever. Sorry, I left that part. So when he called me, it's because we worked together in this How to Succeed in Business thing and paid off. Anyway, I went in and I had to audition 3 times for Stuart Ostro because the character, as Jill knows, when I played the Carl Kubelik, the cab driver, kind of talked like this, a New York guy. Stuart Ostro kept picturing that. So I had to sing and dance. I did From Upon the King from Henry V. When finally I got the part, I gave the notice to David Merrick 2 weeks after we opened. Left the day, went on the road, the whole thing around, opened, big hit. I got written up by Walter. All this stuff was fantastic. And I was so lucky. Otto Preminger was in the audience opening night. Within a couple of weeks, I met Liza Minnelli, who had signed to a film contract, and all didn't tell me that. Merrick, believe it or not, was always very nice to me. Kind of get a kick out of this. I'm almost to the end of this story. I come back from the film. It's the fall now of 1969. I'm with a girl at Raffles Private Club out in Sherry, Netherlands. He's a guest of somebody else. And David Merrick comes up to me. How are you? You know, it always is totally funereal, even when he was too nice. He died. How are you? I'm going to produce a play. And there's a role in it that I think you would find very interesting. And talk about young and cocksure. I knew he might, and I said, artistically or financially? And he said, well, both, I think, if you wouldn't mind doing it for more than a few weeks. So that was Child's Play. I opened a Child's Play. It was a terrific hit. Everybody got nominated for Tony Awards. I'm sitting right behind Merrick for the Tony, and he turns to me, right, it happens as best supporting actor, he turns to me and says, are you ready? And they announce my name. Yeah. So I go up and I say the following. I say, thank you. There are so many people to thank at a time like this, but I would particularly like to thank the admissions officers of several law schools who inadvertently encouraged me to go into this business. The next day I get a telegram from Merrick congratulating me, saying we have enough lawyers, you made the right choice. That's how I got started. After that, there were movies, there were films, there were various things, ups and downs. A friend of mine from college gave me the idea for The White Shadow, and we pitched that, and it was very successful. We did films, all of us. But I had a life then of teaching, of acting, of making ends meet, sometimes starring, sometimes playing the other guy, scrambling, if you will. Year 2007, I was shooting a series called Kane, and we were in El Centro, California. It was July, out in the fields, about 115 degrees. El Centro, California is where I was born. It was officers' quarters. My father was off in the Pacific. So now for the first time in my life, I'm back in El Centro. I'm playing a role. My henchman is played by the redoubtable Ned Horn. And everybody starts getting crazy and upset because it's hot in the thing and they're breaking every possible rule. And I said, I cracked a few jokes and said, take it easy, calm down. We'll get through this. And Ned told me later, he thought, need to get him on the national board. Tom thinks now we have a lot to do. He talked to me about doing this, being on the national board. I said, yeah, because I've been following and things were very, very close. I said, but I'm going to be lost in Plainfield. I'm not even there. It doesn't matter. We have alternates. Just get involved. One thing led to another. And in the year 2009, I was elected president of Screen Actors Guild on a single platform. I was advised you need a lot of stuff. I said, who are we kidding? It's a single platform to merge these unions. And then came to know these remarkable people in this room. David White, Gabrielle Gutierrez, Mike Hodge, his great friends, Maureen, Stasi, Kevin, Rebecca Damon, I could go on, who has been so helpful and is always in my shell-like ear telling me what to do. Thank God for Rebecca Damon. What do we do now? And we've gone on to accomplish a great deal. And I told you that early part of the story because I thought, isn't it funny how this all worked out like it was meant to be? I thought, because I'm right for this job. I'm a real actor who's done this. And it has been so meaningful to me to be able to do this. It's meant a great deal. I said to Ned Vaughn at one point, I mentioned it to David, but I'll share this to you. This is when we were trying to make this merger happen. We were riding towards the offices. And I said, you know, Ned, I said, this may be the most important thing I've ever done in my life. I said, come to think of it, it's probably going to be the only important thing I've ever done. Really, because this has real weight to it and real importance to it. So this is icing on the cake. This has been an extraordinary experience, an honor to represent actors, to get to know all of these people, to have succeeded really well as we did. It's a joy now to see this coming together and how we're operating as a merged union. So thank you for this award. It is the cherry on the icing on the cake. It means the world to me. And so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Please, at the April plenary, open with we three. We're not done with you, Ken.
Or I feel pretty.
There's more. The members of the Lambs recognize a kindred spirit. When we announced that you had approved doing this luncheon, the Council of Lambs voted to induct you as an honorary member of the Lambs. So we have a proclamation that says, on this day of March 9, 2015, the Lambs, America's first professional theatrical club, founded in 1874, by proclamation of Council, hereby confers upon Ken Howard honorary membership in recognition of outstanding achievement in theater, film, and television, for unheralded service to the protection of performers' rights, for services to SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Fund of America, and to the SAG Screen Actors Guild Foundation. Welcome to the Lambs.